Morning, peeps. I'm back, and you're probably wondering why, aren't you? Well, I'm watching the World Club Champs, and every time there's a break between games, I try and do something. Like the last break, I went for a run. This break, I'm waiting for the PSG game to start, so I thought I'd come on and show you how you can do some pre-season tinkering for next season already. You know, you hardcore people out there who love tinkering with your teams and all that, you can do that on FPL Team. So go to FPL Team. All you have to do is we'll go and have a look. We'll show you. Right, you put your ID in to get started, and you press that, and lo and behold, you get a trial list come up. They've made educated guesses on the prices of the players, which is quite interesting. And you can fiddle around and make a team for next season. They've got the fixtures in place. You can do it all, and it's fantastic, peeps. You know, this is the only app that I actually pay for, and I'm not even advertising this for them. I don't have anything to do with them, but it's the only one that I pay for, and it's fantastic. I do not think I would have got my rank I did last season without it. Actually, it's very useful. But you can see the prices here for midfielders that they're predicting. Salah at 14 million, Haaland 13.5, Saka, Palmer at 10, Wirtz at 9.5. I've already put him in. Isaac 9, Odegaard 8.5, Watkins 8.5, blah blah blah, etc. And we'll go and try and make a team. Now, if Salah is 14 million, like they say, I'm going to put a team together without Salah to see if I can do it. You know, according to the fixtures on the Opta page, first 10 matches, Liverpool has the worst fixtures of anybody. And if Salah's 14 million, then I might oppose him. So just for this example, I'm going to make a team without Salah, because it also means I can put in lots of other reasonable players. Makes it easier for me to have a quick tinker and put a team together, doesn't it, to show you guys. So the first player I'm going to put in is actually Palmer. I know he's 10 million. I know he's not what he was. But if he does well in this World Club Champs and looks back to some kind of form, I probably will be bringing him in, because Chelsea do have reasonably decent fixtures. But a lot's going to depend on what happens in the World Club Champs. But I'm putting him in here anyway. I'm also going in, because this is a no Salah draft, remember, so you've got a bit more money. So I'm also going to put Saka in, even though he has awful fixtures. But I'm bringing him in because he is the only reasonable, sensible captain, I believe, in game week 2. Or an Arsenal player is anyway. Game week 2 is very, very tricky if you're looking for a captain. I think Liverpool are away at Newcastle. City have Tottenham, which isn't bad, but then you have to try and predict who's going to play for City. You know, and they're another team in the World Club Champs who might be subject to even more rotation than they normally are. So, Saka, Palmer. Bowen's got reasonable fixtures. He's obviously a talisman at West Ham. So I'll put Bowen in. So we'll settle for that for now. Then the strikers might surprise you. First one is Watkins. Isaac has awful fixtures. If Watkins comes in at 8.5, as these guys predict, I think that's a reasonable price for him. I would start the season with Watkins, who, like I said, has good fixtures. Newcastle's probably the hardest one of the first few. The second one I'm looking at putting in might surprise you, and that is Solanke. And this is dependent on Buemo going to Tottenham. So I'm putting Solanke in. Great fixture. New manager. Frank is a manager who likes to get in the box. He likes, you know, it's gonna help Solanke, I think, the appointment of Frank, basically. So I'll put Solanke in there. It didn't work out too great last season, but he's reasonable. So I'll put Solanke in. And then the first two defenders I've got my eyes on, one in particular, is Cucurella, who they're predicting at 5.5, which I think would be a great price for him, a great price. You know, I'd say there's a possibility he does come in at 6 million, but if he's 5.5, I think that's a steal, absolute steal. He's getting more and more attacking with every appearance, and that is not going to change. That is not going to change. Although they are looking for another winger, having said that. But even so, I still think Cucurella is going to be playing a very prominent role for Chelsea this season. And the defence is definitely tightened up. You know, Maresca's made changes. No more 5-3s, 5-2s like they were doing under Pochettino. It's more like 2-0s now. 1-0, 2-0. So Cucurella, obviously, very good. Second one, there are a lot of options. I mean, Kirkes is going to Liverpool, but he has poor fixtures. And for this draft here, I'm trying to pick players that have reasonable fixtures. So he's not one of them. Man City's are reasonable. You've got Guardiola or Aït-Nouri look to be the two candidates, both here at 6 million. Do you go to Guardiola, who probably will not be playing out wide, so we'll see less attacking returns than we are used to. So maybe Aït-Nouri, you know, I mean, he's going to be subject to a bit of rotation possibly, isn't he, which is the only problem. But let's, for the sake of, let's put in Guardiola. Okay, we'll put Guardiola in. Could just as easily be Aït-Nouri. Or it could, you know, Arsenal have got bad fixtures, basically. Normally, for the past few seasons, we've always had an Arsenal defender, haven't we? We know they're attacking. They get so many set pieces. So they can score goals. Normally, you know, it's not a terrible pick, I think. If you did pick Gabriel, I don't think it's a terrible option, despite the fixtures. And they do have a very good fixture in game week 2. But for this, I'm putting in Guardiola. Goalkeeper, I'm actually going for one that might surprise you. And that is the Tottenham keeper. If he's at 4.5 million, Vicario. And the reason is, last season, Brentford, Flecken made 30 more saves than the next keeper on the list. So it was no fluke. He was head and shoulders above the next goalkeeper in terms of saves. And it's not because he's better at making saves than anybody else. It's because of the way Frank had Brentford set up. Now, it's going to take a while for him to mould Tottenham into his style of play, but we could possibly see a lot more saves from the Tottenham keeper. You know, obviously they're easy saves because the way Brentford's set up, it makes it so that the opposition get to take more long shots, you know. So it's possible we see the same setup, which could bump up the amount of saves that Vicario gets. Also, they're probably going to be less gung-ho in general under Frank than they were under Postecoglou. So we could see a few more clean sheets. So if he's 4.5 million, which is historically pretty good for a Tottenham keeper, isn't it? They're not normally 4.5 million. So I'll stick him in anyway. Nice fixture first up, regardless. So now we'll fill out the rest. So, defenders. Now let's see who. Like FPL Team have got Gabriel at 6 million, Saliba 6 million, Robertson 6 million, who I suspect will not be 6 million when the game starts. Virgil van Dijk 6 million, Aït-Nouri. I mean, you could even double up on City defence, couldn't you? Go Aït-Nouri. I'm looking for someone a little bit cheaper than 6 million. So James 5.5. He's obviously a option instead of Cucurella, but with his injury record, he's probably going to be rested a bit more, I suspect. And he's obviously injury prone, isn't he? But he's not. You know, if he did stay fit, he would be a very good option, I think, at 5.5 million if that was his price. Munoz, Palace have got decent fixtures. If he is 5.5 million, He's obviously an option. Got Lewis Skelly, who they now have as a defender. I think he was listed as a midfielder, wasn't he, last season? So if he's listed as a defender, he is obviously an option when they have better fixtures. They've still got Kirkes at 5, but he won't be 5 if he moves to Liverpool before the prices come out. He will not be 5 million. You can be pretty sure of that. Robinson of Fulham's 5. Fulham, our second half of the season was pretty poor. The player I'm actually looking at, who is now only 5 million, is Pedro Porro. So I'm looking at Pedro Porro, obviously quite attacking. Looks a decent option, I think, with the fixtures that they have to begin the season with. I know it's doubling up with my keeper, but this is only a draft, This isn't how my team's going to end up looking, obviously. I'm just showing you that with the fixtures that we have and with the pricing that they've got on here, I'm making a team for that, basically. So, it's good. Just tinkering for the sake of tinkering, really, peeps. So now, fourth midfielder. People are looking at Foden. Foden said himself, new start. Scored a goal after 1 minute the other day in the Club World Cup. It remains to be seen how he does in the rest of the tournament. But if Foden looks like coming back into real good form, then they've got him 8.5 million here. I mean, I think that's his ceiling. I don't think he'd be even that high. I can't see him being any higher than that. Who else have they got? Look, they've got Son at 7.5 million. Could be off. Turkey, or whatever he's called, the new City. I think he plays in pretty much the same position as Foden almost, doesn't he? So why is João Pedro they've got as a midfielder? I don't think that's going to happen, is it? In the real pricing, but we shall see. They've got Rodgers at 6.5. Semenyo, who took the most shots of nearly anybody, didn't he, last season? But for the sake of this draft, I think I am going to stick in... Am I going to stick in Foden? No, I'm going to stick in Wirtz. That's what I'm going to stick in. I know they don't have great fixtures, Liverpool. But if I'm going without Salah... This is what I did last season, wasn't it? I went without Salah and decided that Jota could cover him. Do you remember that? Oh dear, how that turned out, peeps. How that turned out. Absolutely shocking, wasn't it? But I'm going to take a punt on Wirtz in this draft, who they've got at 9.5 million, who is a very good fantasy asset in other formats. Obviously, that was in other leagues. But he's done very well in the Champions League and everything. No reason why he cannot do very well at Liverpool. So I'll put him in. And as this is a non-Salah draft, of course, I have more money to spread around. Now, third striker. There are two that kind of stand out on fixtures. Well, Mateta, I guess you could make a case for, couldn't you? You could make a case for Mateta, because Palace's fixtures are all right. So you've got Vissa, Mateta, they've got Jota as a striker. Chris Wood is the other one, because Forest have good fixtures. So you can, they're the three standouts, I think, at the prices. I'd like Delap at 6.5 if that was true. But he's obviously in contention with Jackson, so probably best avoided. So I'll put in Chris Wood for the sake of this draft. We won't muck around too long with the bench. But Konsa, we'll stick him in. We want another 4.5. Could be anybody. Could be anybody. There are lots of good ones around. I know who we'll put in. We'll put my old mate in, who we finished the season with, because they've got good fixtures. Where is he, peeps? Where is he? Where's that West Ham defender? Cannot find him. Wan-Bissaka. We'll stick Wan-Bissaka in. He was really good last season, wasn't he? Sunderland first up. I mean, you could almost bench Saka to put him in. Right, so I'll do any old 4.5 would do. We'll put Sangaré in. So that's it. 0 in the bank after I've bought a keeper. And the keeper will be probably Henderson if he's still 4.5. And I think you'll agree that is a pretty good draft to begin the season with based on the fixtures and the pricing that FPL Team have. Now, obviously, this isn't going to be the same pricing. We'll save this. Actually, I'll save it. Price test, I'll call it. I'll call it price test. So when the prices do actually come out, I can go back to this team and see how much it actually costs. And that'll kind of be a reflection on how stringent they've been. Do you know what I mean? If supposing I'm 1 million short of affording this team, then we'll say that Mark or whoever does the pricing has really done a good job, you know. Whereas if this team's like got 1 million in the bank, I'll probably say that the pricing has been too lenient, you know. So if this pricing is accurate, then I'd be quite happy to go into the season with this team, I think. And you're probably wondering why I've got Saka, who has awful fixtures. I'm probably going to have to captain Solanke at home to Burnley in a no-Salah team. You know, you could captain Wood, I guess, at home to Brentford, or Palmer at home to Palace, possibly, if he has a blinder in the rest of the World Cup. But Solanke home to Burnley, I think. So then you go to game week 2, and this is why I've got Saka in, because he is the obvious captain. There are really no decent captains in game week 2. No decent captains at all, really. Because Newcastle are playing Liverpool. I think Man City are playing Tottenham, and Tottenham normally do quite well against City, don't they? I mean, obviously you could captain a City player, but after the World Club Champs, we really don't know. There's going to be more rotation amongst the City team than ever before, probably. I mean, they've bought quite a few new attackers, so it's going to be very difficult to confidently select a Man City captain, I suspect. So unless you've got the early kickoff, they haven't got the kickoff times in yet, but it'll probably be Man City. It always is, isn't it? But I'd be very happy going into the season with that team. Obviously, I'd be a bit scared about Salah. But anyway, peeps, that's about it. You know, I've put this team together. I'll do a Salah team for my own amusement later on today. And, you know, if you're hardcore like myself and you love tinkering around, then go on to FPL Team here and try and make yourself some teams for next season, because it's quite enjoyable. You know, I enjoy it. It's kind of relaxing, isn't it? It's like therapy, almost like doing a puzzle or something. It's kind of just sit here and relaxing. You know, the world's going to shit, isn't it? But at least you can sit here and tinker with your FPL team. You know what I mean? So anyway, it's given me something to do before the PSG match starts, and hopefully my mate Defender's going to start. I've actually been looking on this analyst.com, I think it is. Is that what I've been looking at? Is that the right one? Yeah, I've been looking at this site. Not that site, actually. Some other site, anyway. And where are we? This one here. Opta Analyst has got all the like shots and everything, and like Salah last season, shots on target, all that sort of thing here. And it's a pretty decent little site, and it's had the a thing about the fixtures. I'll just show you what it said about the fixtures. About Arsenal and how they could be having a bad start to the season. This is their ratings here for the start, which are a bit different from the scout ones. This is for the first 5 matches here. I'll just check you can see it. Oh yeah, perfect. Look. So I reckon Villa have the best fixtures this season coming up. First 5. And what's different about this one, you saw that the Scout one had Sunderland right at the top, didn't it? But this, I don't know why Burnley's got such great fixtures according to this, mind you. And I think it's because they're playing Tottenham and Man United, who are ranked very lowly because of how they performed last season. But, we're assuming that they're going to be much better this season, aren't we? But are they? I can see Tottenham being better. But Man United, I mean, really, are they going to be better than last season? They've got the same manager. Fernandes is getting ever older. Now, Casemiro and the rest of them are not a young side, are they? And so it's going to be interesting to see who they recruit. But they've got big words from Amorim, but we haven't really seen any improvement. So are they actually going to improve? Are Burnley going to smash them? These are the questions we have to ask. But anyway, every ticker's different. I've looked at lots of different fixture tickers, and they're all different. But they all say that Villa have decent fixtures, Palace have decent fixtures, so do West Ham, Brentford, Chelsea, Sunderland, Tottenham's are decent. This one's got Forest quite low, whereas a lot of the other fixture tickers had Forest as having very good fixtures, didn't they? But they pretty much all agree that Man United, Arsenal have poor fixtures. And they've got the 10 here. Look, this is for 10 games. And they've got Liverpool the lowest of the whole lot. Wolves actually have the best fixtures over the first 10 games. So if Strand Larsen's 5.5 million and you're looking for a cheap striker, then he's your man. Chelsea up there with decent fixtures. Another reason to give Palmer, I don't know. Can we go there again? He was absolutely awful, wasn't he? Leeds, decent fixtures. But anyway, there's a lot of quite interesting stuff on this site. So I've had a look at that anyway. But get yourselves over to FPL Team and have a tinker, peeps. Have a tinker. And that's it for me. I'm off now. I've got to watch PSG. And like I said, every time I watch one of these games, as soon as the game's finished, I try and do something to occupy myself for the next hour. I don't know what I'll do next time. I've been for a nice run. I've talked to you lot and done this one. So I don't know what I'm going to do after the PSG match. But I'll try and do something anyway, peeps. So anyway, like us. Talk to you all later. And cheers for now then, peeps.